Swansea wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are listening to Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, your one-stop shop for professional wrestling, insight, news, and reviews on a daily basis. And today is Friday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for the weekend preview. We're previewing SmackDown. Who's next for Cody Rhodes? We're going to get into all of that and more. Firstly, the co-host of the show. How are you, Clark?
Dude, I'm doing well. What a wild week of professional wrestling. Talk about fun. And speaking of fun, I promise not to spoil the intro for you, Ben, but I am hyped about our very own return. Missed him all week. Glad he's relaxed. I'm going to let you have it, though. Let you take it away from here.
Absolutely. Also in the comments, we have Melissa. Shout out to Melissa, who is first in the comments. But over the last week or so, you might have noticed somebody has been absent from Wrestling Republic programming. But he is back now. It's not a Tuesday, but it is the Tuesday Night Delight. How are you, Shad?
Guess who's back? Back again. Shot is back. Tell a friend. I am good, guys. Man, oh man. I have missed all of y'all in the comment section. I've missed my whole squad on Wrestling Republic. You guys have had an eventful week of wrestling. I must tip my hat off to the good family over here, man. Everybody who was part of the whole WrestleMania coverage and everything going on with CM Punk and just all the wrestling that y'all covered. Phenomenal job, man. But yes, I am back in the flesh and I'm ready to talk about SmackDown. Let's get it.
Absolutely. Well, you've been gone. We've had 5-star classics, push-ups, and nuclear bombs allegedly being set off backstage. It's been hectic. It absolutely has been. We have Sonny Dalton and Sandy in the chat. Welcome to the show, Sonny. And yeah, I mean, let's just jump straight into it, right? Adrenaline in my soul. What's next for Cody Rhodes? I mean, obviously, he is now the champion. He is the top guy, the undisputed WWE Champion. On Raw, we kind of saw like a bit of a celebration for him. We've teased a potential Rock feud in the future, or maybe even an inevitable Rock feud. But for the time being, what is next for him? There's a lot of people on this SmackDown roster, and there's a lot of heels who haven't had championship opportunities over the past year, based on the fact that obviously there's been a heel world champion the entire time. Now, what I'm going to say, my pick doesn't actually make much sense at all from like a kayfabe standpoint. But if one thing that WWE have done over the years, one thing that WWE have always done over the years is just pick somebody to, have a title shot, especially after WrestleMania, when it makes no sense. And often the challengers just lost a WrestleMania match. And I think they're going to do that again this year because I reckon we're getting Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles at Backlash. Cody Rhodes essentially replaced AJ Styles in the Bullet Club years back. That was basically the guy who he came in for to replace. Yes, Kenny Omega replaced him as like the face of Bullet Club or whatever, but it was Cody Rhodes who came in to replace him. And I reckon that, hey, it's time for them to actually have a match. These two, to my knowledge, have never faced off before. And for them to finally do it for the WWE Championship, I would absolutely love. And I think it'd be very, very fun. But Clark, I'm going to move to you next. What is your thoughts on this? Who do you think will be challenging Cody? I almost said Roman Reigns. See, I'm that used to it. Who do you reckon will be challenging Cody Rhodes?
Roman Rhodes?
At Backlash. Roman Rhodes.
Roman Rhodes.
All
Cody
roads
Rhodes.
lead to Roman.
No, I'm super interested in this because, to your point, what I don't want them to do is schedule a match for Backlash that's a kind of a throwaway. I want this to start with a bang. And there's 2 names on my list of title defenses that I think Cody needs to have along the way to The Rock. One of those names, Randy Orton. His history with Orton, if we can turn Orton heel, we know Orton can be a heel at any minute. He's the Viper. He can strike out of nowhere. let him climb that mountain. It was cool that Orton was there for the celebration and everything, but I mean, with all of their history, we know who Randy is. Maybe he wants his moment back in the spotlight. I would love to see that. The other name, and I don't think it's his first opponent, and I don't think it should be either, but I do believe it should be an opponent really soon. That's Gunther. He's not on SmackDown, but I would love for Gunther to look at Cody and go, "Oh, you just got through Roman Reigns. Watch this." And really have Cody have to fight from underneath with Gunther along the way to the final boss, because he's final boss adjacent himself, essentially, in the way his character is. The guy can beat anybody on the roster up. Cody would be a great candidate for that, and that match bell to bell might be the most tantalizing, I think, of any of Cody's potential title defenses. I would be all over if they did choose Gunther for this. I get that Gunther's pretty much over on Raw right now still, and probably has other things going on for Backlash. But if they go Orton, Gunther, Rock, that's a murderer's row if I've ever heard of one.
No, it truly, truly is. I mean, he'd have some wins on his resume if that was the case. And I'd love Gunther versus Cody. Somebody, Isaac is saying in the chat that he thinks they will at Bash at Berlin. And that would be fascinating because Gunther would very, very likely be the babyface in that situation. It could be a what's it called that MJF always calls it, what's it called? Bizarro World or whatever, where like
Bizarro World.
everybody's chanting for the wrong person, for the heel or whatever. But I do agree with Sonny Dalton and Sandy that maybe it's a little bit too early for Gunther right now. Naveen says that when Seth Rollins returns, he will be running for the championship. I mean, that is a great shout indeed. But Shad, I want to hear your shout on this one. Who do you think will be challenging Cody Rhodes?
All right. Well, first and foremost, let me congratulate Cody Rhodes because I haven't been on the podcast. As a fellow Cody crybaby, I had my Kleenexes with me wiping every tear when he had his moment and he finished his story. So, congratulations, Rumble, young man, Rumble. In regards to a first opponent going into Backlash, I feel like putting in this is the beauty of it, right? It's a new champion. There's a lot of fresh new matchups, and there's a lot of opportunity, like how you did, to rejuvenate an already set star who hasn't done a lot. It being Backlash, I wouldn't put my ducks in a row with a person like a Rock or maybe a potential Seth match or a Gunther, because I feel like those are big time opponents for bigger shows. But I think there's a guy that can be a viable opponent and it can help his character out as well as his faction. I'm going Bobby Lashley. Um, I think the Almighty is someone that is a tremendous, beast of a competitor, a former world champion, and a viable threat for Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is best going against the odds, fighting the bad guy that's big, strong, kind of superhero esque. And I think Bobby Lashley is a person that is a dominant presence, and he has a faction that allows Cody Rhodes to go against the numbers. The numbers games are always there. I also like this opportunity to finally hone in to this faction of the Pride. I complained about it because I don't know what the direction is for him, but I feel like the presentation and what Bobby does, they're better as a heel. Like just the whole, looking like money, coming out with the suits and lavish clothes, like that's a heel tactic. It's kind of like how Evolution is. What's a better way to go full heel than playing the numbers games and having the Street Profits jump Cody Rhodes to the road to Backlash? Have the fans fully not want to do the dancing and throwing their red solo cups up in the air. That's the perfect way to completely change the character arc for them and create them as heels, as well as getting Bobby Lashley back into the main event scene. This is something that he deserves to be in. This is a guy who was a champion not too long ago, a couple years ago, right when he got the briefcase from the Miz or whatever it may be. So I want to see it happen. I think Lashley would be a great first opponent for Cody at Backlash.
Oh, I would like to see that, and I do think it would be very fun indeed. And after you explained it, I could see it happening as well. Maybe he comes out for this, title celebration again tonight, the Pride Crasher, like you said. And that would be a fun match indeed, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm going to be honest, what excites me more about that is the potential of having Cody Rhodes versus Montez Ford
Says
in the
Ford,
build up to that.
That I would love.
I'm not gonna lie to you. That's also a great shout. Like that's an opportunity to let Montez get an opponent to show why he is a great singles competitor too.
Yeah, no, absolutely no doubt about it. I mean, Naveen saying, can Cody carry the company on his shoulders like Roman Reigns did? I mean, time will tell.
Can anybody have that type of reign again? We'll have to wait and see. But
I don't
like
think so.
that, I don't think it's gonna happen. Now that the storm has settled, we have to acknowledge our tribal chief, man. He did some unprecedented things as a wrestling superstar as anybody's done in the history of professional wrestling. So
Yeah. I mean, I can't say names, but following WrestleMania, I had a text off somebody and they said to me that it's the only time we're going to see this in our lifetime, they believed. And it's like, yeah, I could well see that being the case. And it's crazy. I didn't want it to end for that reason, but the moment was so beautiful. I said it the other day, and I'm excited to see the journey in which Cody Rhodes now takes us on as champion. Whether it's Bobby Lashley, what you said, Shad, whether it's AJ Styles, whether it's somebody else, who knows? And I'm here for the ride, and I'm here to enjoy it, and I cannot wait. I mean, Sonny Dalton and Sandy is saying Sheamus could be one option to do. I mean, that
that's
would be
That's not a bad call at all.
that is not a bad one at all, especially it being in Europe. Like that's kind of but I would kind of do. We talk of like when is
yeah.
Clash at the Castle? That's in like I feel like him and Sheamus would be a
Mm,
great match for Clash at the Castle too.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it probably would be. There'd be a lot of Irish fans traveling over, I guess. But yeah, I mean, it's really hard because I thought, to be fair, that like I didn't think Drew McIntyre was gonna get massively cheered.
Great point.
Well, I kind of thought Drew McIntyre would at the original Clash, but I didn't think the English guys were going to get cheered at the original Clash based on the fact that it was in Wales, and they did get cheered. So maybe
Mhm.
Sheamus would get. Oh, my setup just fell down.
By
That's
the way,
lovely.
I was going to say another name that it's a shame because it's not possible now. But if Jimmy goes over Jay, Jimmy would have been a great choice. Jimmy never got that
Exactly.
shot at Roman.
It's
That would have been an
unfortunate.
outstanding choice.
It's,
It's too late now though. That's frustrating to me.
it's unfortunate for
Solo.
it's unfortunate for
So
both. It's unfortunate for Jimmy and Solo because I feel like there's so much groundwork needed for both of them to become like legitimate threats as single superstars because they've took so many losses.
that's
Yeah.
the most frustrating part is like it's like Roman's loss hurt Jimmy and Solo more than it hurt Roman Reigns or Jay or anyone else around that part of the bloodline story.
Yeah.
It right? It took the wind out of their sails more than anything
Hmm.
else.
Yeah, because
Rock came out of it looking better.
Jay's
Yeah.
established as a single star. Those guys haven't established anything after. So yeah.
Yeah, no, you are bang on, right? But I mean, we were talking about what's next for Mr. Cody Rhodes. I also want to talk about the other new champion that we had walking out of WrestleMania. And Clark, it's somebody who you've been praising for a very, very long time, and she has done it. She had her WrestleMania moment, and the new WWE Women's Champion, Bayley. What is next for her? My prediction, Dakota Kai. She's the only other singles competitor right now in Damage Control. Oscar, Kyrie saying they're the women's tag team champions. I think they have other stuff going on. Whereas Dakota Kai, I think, I think when they had that match pre-Mania, Bayley and Dakota Kai, the fact that it was not a clean finish made me think at the time, hang on a second, this is something for after WrestleMania. And I think we are going to get that build started tonight. Clark, what are your thoughts?
Dude, it is hard to deny Dakota Kai, and no, I did not do that on purpose just now. That's a great answer. That's who I would have gone with, probably, but I had another name, and I'm actually glad you said Dakota Kai, because this one's going to make Shad so happy. Why not do it now? Tiffany Stratton, talk to me. Tiffany Stratton, Bayley on the mic. How about it? And then in the ring, give it to me on a platter anytime. I love it. We know Bayley can go on the mic. We know Bayley can go bell to bell. Tiffany Stratton's been proving both those things in NXT and since being called up to the main roster. She's one of the few wrestlers in any division that I've ever seen that genuinely I cannot say she doesn't get better every single time out. She gets better every time she has a microphone or a wrestling match. Literally elevates slightly. It is mind-blowing how talented and how good. That rivalry, I am all over. I don't know that it's the one I agree with you. Like, Dakota Kai makes the most logical sense right now. But how about all summer a Tiffany Stratton and Bayley feud till SummerSlam or something like that? I would love back and forth. You can have the chase. You can have Bayley sort of given her character history, not go like full hugger or things like that. But she used to be, I mean, the complete opposite of what Tiffany Stratton basically is. So those back and forths would just be, and to me, off the charts. That's a matchup that I'm like, put that one on a poster, almost no doubt about it.
I'm gonna be honest. I much prefer that idea to Dakota Kai, because if Tiffany Stratton putting her in the the title picture right away, it would make her feel like a star.
Yeah.
Even if she loses, it would just establish her as a main event star out of the gates. And Dakota Kai Bayley, I'm sure it would be a great match. But at the end of the day, I'm just sick of seeing Bayley and Damage Control. I like Bayley. I like Damage Control. I'm sick of them together. We have the perfect ending at WrestleMania. Let's move on. Let's keep the wheels rolling. Tiffany Stratton, Bayley, Backlash. Yes, please.
Let's do it. Absolutely. I totally agree. It's like, it's one of those things too. I was so critical of the Damage Control thing because I'm such a big fan of Bayley. Yes, everything worked out, but like you said, now it's time to move on. We've seen it. It's totally time to move on now. And Tiffany is the perfect person to slide into that role, ready to go. Obviously, there's other sharks in the water on SmackDown. Jade Cargill is another name I thought about mentioning there too, but I think that's maybe just a skosh too soon, just barely too soon. But that down the road as well, she's there to stay.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to talk about her later as well. I mean, we have a couple of comments here. We have the greatest babyface saying Cody has been carrying WWE for over 2 years. Roman was just the title holder.
That Avi does not seem biased at all by him, huh?
Whoops.
I don't agree. I don't. I think Cody's been doing a great job at live events and everything, and he's been selling tickets, and he's been, doing the job that Roman, he's been filling the shoes that Roman has left for him every time when Roman goes away. But Roman Reigns has also been the one to sell out big time on all the main event matches. And I think he deserves credit where credit's due for that.
There's also part of it is Roman is a commodity. I get that he's not, like there every single week, but that is part of the intrigue on Roman. And that's really, really, really hard to replicate. And that's something that makes him unique.
Look, and this is not I think Cody Rhodes is phenomenal, and I think he is the top babyface in the WWE without a shadow of a doubt. And I think him getting his moment is the right call. But Roman Reigns is the battery to the story. Like that, the story was obviously tied to his dad and all that, but like Roman being the heel and ultimate like monster, Thanos-esque character, everyone makes the end game comparison. Gotta give him credit. And one last thing, good job, Clark. Tiffany Stratton was
great call
on that. I would also, to y'all's point on that, I would also do Dakota Kai versus Io Sky as a potential feud to continue the breaking of Damage Control.
I like that a lot.
I could see that indeed. Sonny Dalton and Sandy saying it's horrible what the greatest babyface said. There's a bit of a common feud going on here because Sonny Dalton and Sandy thinks Roman Reigns might be the greatest of all time. That's another discussion for another day. But he definitely is the John Cena of our generation, like Isaac Pugh is saying in the comments there as well. I'm a big Roman Reigns guy, but I'm also a big Next Level guy because in case you guys don't know who Next Level are, essentially we all know there's so many different social media platforms. There's so many links. Well, Next Level have all our links all in one place for you. It's super easy. And also there's exclusive content on there too. They have their own content app. It's just a really easy, free platform to use. And oh, just in case that just isn't enough for some reason, well, if you click the link, the free link, once again, you can scroll down to the bottom of it and you can enter a giveaway for the WrestleMania, 40 Years of WrestleMania edition of WWE 2K24. They're giving away 2 of them. I mean, it's it's free to enter. You have nothing to lose. You might as well enter it. If you go down to the bottom of the link, click on it. It'll tell you what to do. It's very, very simple. Go to nxconnect.me/Wrestling Republic to enter and to see all our content across all platforms, all linked in one easy place. And again, it's free. There's nothing to lose, guys. Nothing at all. But now let's move on because somebody who does have something to lose is A-Town Down Under because they are now the tag team champions, of course, over on the blue brand. And I mean, what is next for them? That is the question. And in my personal opinion, I think it's Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Why? Well, because they kept that feud going all the way into WrestleMania weekend. And I was thinking, why are they doing this? And as soon as A-Town Down Under grabbed those SmackDown titles, it all made sense to me. It became clear. We're having an R-Space KO feud against A-Town Down Under for these titles. And A-Town Down Under are going to retain the belts. And then Randy Orton is going to turn on Kevin Owens. And we're getting Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes at SummerSlam. That's how I book it. But what about you, Shard?
I like the tag team name of R space KO, by the way. That's pretty witty of you to come up with. First and foremost, I got to give myself a shout out because I predicted that the winners of the tag team match would go how they went on Take It to the Table. You know, chaos.
Oh,
Run me my money on that, bro. But no, I don't. I want to come with a different idea, but I do think the smart move would be Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. Um, I think A Town Down Under are phenomenal. I really do like the team of Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. I think Grayson Waller's charisma and personality really meshes well with Austin Theory and gives Austin Theory a little bit more personality as a character. So them being tied together is the right call. I think it is going to be Randy and KO for 2 reasons. One, their chemistry is really good as a tag team as well. They have good comedic timing. The whole, moment of just the whole storyline of the Logan Paul triple threat match of them kind of being quasi friends but also being opponents, and then him pulling up in the golf cart. I think they do have a common enemy with these two guys, and it gives them an opportunity to go for gold. I think people are going to get behind those two as champs. The other thing is this: there's not a finished story between Austin Theory and Grayson Waller as well. We've been
That's
kind of
true.
alluding to them potentially breaking up, and I can see them potentially bickering, and they end up being the split rather than everyone maybe expects KO and Randy to be the split. I think they might be the split. There might be a case where Theory, takes a, a stunner, then an RKO, and Waller's scared and kind of backs off and they lose. And then after the match, Austin Theory just says, I'm done with it. And he just turns on Waller, something like that. Those are possibilities, but I don't see them as long term champions. They do seem a little transitional. I think they're a good team to kind of just get the title split back. But I think KO and Randy are a team that has a little bit more, um, a little bit more steam on them to potentially be
yeah.
champions. So, yeah.
No, I agree with that a lot. I do. And down the line, I do want to see Theory and Grayson Waller split up and have a proper feud. And I really want to see if I just want to give Theory one more chance at a singles run because I might be in denial. I really might be, but I just think that maybe he can still become that star because he's still very, very young, and people forget that as well. But at the same time, I want to see Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, and I want to see Randy Orton as a heel. So turning on KO would make a lot of sense there. Maybe we have both teams turn, and then we split the tag team titles into two separate belts, and then we become AEW of 10 billion singles titles. That's always a shout too. But but I had to get one AEW dig in there. I missed the show yesterday, but now let's move on because I want to talk about somebody, right, who is a former AEW talent and somebody who AEW did build so well, and that is Miss Jade Cargill. Because, I mean, she is her, right? We always say Carmelo Hayes is him. Jade Cargill is her. She is a star. Definition of a star. But something people have suggested is, hey, should we put her on a Goldberg-like streak? Or, I mean, a Jade Cargill-like streak because she went on one in AEW. Should they do that in WWE? And for me, I think yes. But I don't think the point should be about her streak. I think she should just have, non-stop wins until she relatively soon, maybe 6 months down the line, wins the Women's Championship. And at that point, she remains undefeated until obviously she loses the title. So yes, I do it. I'd put her on an undefeated streak, but I'm not sure I'd make just have her going out and being on an undefeated streak without a title. I think you need the title involved in this because she's in her prime right now. Let's not waste it. Shad, I'll go to you first. What are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree, and that just goes on the fact of who Jade is as a competitor. Her aura, as they say, is a strong, dominant performer, strong, dominant champion. You can't brush that off of her. That's just how she works. She's not a person that is like you know bell for bell super worker. She's the person that is just gonna come in, get the job done, head out, and she's gonna wow you with her presence. She's gonna wow you with her strength and athleticism. And I think that you can kind of follow in a sense the same formula that AEW did, but it can kind of be painted a little bit different. I don't think she should lose going on the road to eventually being champion. I do think she should be the eventual champion, whether that's dethroning Rhea for her title or whether that's dethroning Bayley for the title. I think you have to book her strong. You have to give her viable wins. They got a lot of people on Raw and SmackDown that she can get wins with, people that she can have little feuds with, a Nia Jax, a Liv Morgan, Zelina Vega. Like there's people that can get her through the road to eventually becoming champion. And yeah, like you said, become champion, be dominant, continue this. Like I would paint it more towards like a Gunther, like have her kind of be like a Gunther in a sense, just that stout, dominant champ that goes in there, beats you down, gets her championship, and walks out without a scratch on her. I think that's the way to go. I do think that it'll be a little different than AEW on the sense that the TBS title was made for her to just go through matches, and I don't like to say stuff or inflated stats, but there was a lot of inflated stats. Winning matches on dark shows, winning matches against enhanced talent or just people that aren't even on the roster or people on the bottom barrel of the card. Here, I think she'll wrestle a little less, but her wins will mean something to it. So, or she'll just have dominant 30-second wins against Chelsea Green every week. Hey, who knows?
Chelsea Green every single week. I mean, I wouldn't complain. I found it really entertaining this week. That is for sure. We have a couple of controversial comments here, actually. We have Sonny Dalton and Sandy saying she's not close to even being ready for the title because she has no move set, very stiff, and her mic skills are weak. But in a year, she'd be ready.
No, I highly disagree with about
I
everything
do as
that you
well.
said, bro. Because I don't think her mic skills are weak at all. I think she has a just dominant presence about her when she talks. She has it's the confidence. Like my I'll even use my wife as an example. She just saw Jade for the first time in WWE this past week, like last week at Mania, and she's like, "I'm a fan," right there. Like,
Yep.
and this is a person who doesn't watch wrestling that often besides watching with me. Like there's something about her presence alone without even saying a word. You don't have to cut fiery promos all the time. And her moveset is fine.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
No, I do have to agree with you there. I thought she was overhated when she was in AEW. I really, really did. And I'm on the record of saying that as well. But then
Mhm.
she came to WWE. She spent a few months in the Performance Center, training a bit more, improving her skills a bit more. So now she's going to be another level. And I mean, if I was the USA Network, I'd do everything that I, could possibly do to get her on Raw. But the really interesting thing about this draft is we often hear about networks, trying to get certain talents. Well, the USA Network have Raw now, but in January they're
They're
going
gonna
to
have
have
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Mhm.
So no matter what, they'll have both. But
And I
I
don't think
mean,
Netflix is really gonna care that much. They're just happy to have
yeah.
Raw on their platform.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's a long-term deal there too, and they got
Mhm.
premium live events too. So they'll have the best of everyone. They'll have everyone, all the talent. But Clark, we know Jade Cargill has all the talent, but do you reckon she should go on an undefeated Goldberg-esque streak?
Okay, first, I laughed when I saw the topic. I was like, what am I supposed to say if everyone says that she should? Am I supposed to come out here and be like, no, we should 50-50 book her? No, I'm kidding. The answer is emphatically yes. Like I may be a Cubs fan, Chicago guy, but Cincinnati Reds fan. Zach Cozart, Brandon Phillips, love them. Love Jade. Jade should be booked like the Undertaker. Forget the undefeated streak part of it. Book Jade like the Undertaker. Like literally comes in and solves the problems. Whether it's locker room or whatever, she shows up and fixes things. And they go back to working as they normally do. In that sense, book her like the Undertaker. Absolutely unbeatable. Speaking of people that worked a little bit snug, Undertaker being one of them, Jade can do that. Physicality wise, I don't know anybody in the women's division that can match her, maybe in any women's division for that matter. I mean, she, I think, would beat me up very thoroughly. Um, that would be an issue. I would never mess with Jade, not even once. But yeah, my answer is definitively she should be undefeated for a very long time, so that whoever does go over on Jade eventually gets that rub. Write that story, make it work. I don't even necessarily think she needs to be around a title like she was at AEW. Let's not, compare that right out of the gates already before things happen. I think she can go undefeated, have really good rivalries, and be away from the title for as long as we want. And then when it's title picture time, she is that unstoppable force, which she already is. But give us that value. I don't necessarily need to see a record. I don't want a counter. I don't want any of that. But I have zero reason to sit up here on this microphone and say like, yeah, I'd love to see her, maybe take two out of 3 wins and then get that loss on the back end to so and so. Like, no. For right now, the answer is she should not be losing. Absolutely not. If she gets the wrong end of a physical altercation, maybe once, I have no problem with that as long as she gets her comeuppance in the match, because for right now, she is a babyface. But I think her future is as one of the most daunting heels too. She's
Yeah.
got the range. So and that's where I go back to the Undertaker thing. Undertaker did his slight heel run late 90s, but majority of the career a babyface that scared everyone to death. That's the same exact thing I see out of Jade.
Yeah, I mean, we need to get Teddy Long in here so he can come out. And just for that, Chelsea, we're
Yes.
going one-on-one with Jade Cargill
Cargill.
tonight. We need
Bring
we
it
need
back.
all
I would
that.
love that. You're going one-on-one with Jade Cargill. I love that.
We have Laurie Taylor. Shout out Laurie saying Jade is a star. Couldn't agree more. David Mard said he thinks Bianca could get jealous of Jade. Clark, you said that there's not anybody who can athletically, go
There's
one-on-one
one.
with Jade. No, I think there's two. One is Bianca Belair. The second one is Charlotte Flair. Both of those matches for me are dream matches with Jade Cargill. Money, printing money, illegal perhaps.
Tiffany Stratton is one above everybody, guys.
Oh yeah,
Love
yeah,
Tiffy time, but I will say Bianca, the EST, like
I'm
to your
messing-
point
oh.
about athleticism, Division I athlete, and it's a different type of athlete too, right? You have the brute strength and force from Jade, classic immovable object, unstoppable force situation, because you've got Bianca, who lightning fast, track star, but also strong and athletic herself. That matchup down the road, that's what I do not want to see them in a rivalry anytime soon.
Nah, you
build
got
that for a long time.
You gotta save that for Mania.
Yeah, if you build it, they will come. Classic Field of Dreams. I fit in, I think, 3 baseball shout outs there.
Yeah, well, I got none of them. But let's now move on to somebody who I do get, and that is Bron Breakker. I've said it time and time again. This guy is a star. And I'm going to say something controversial here, right? But we did a fan poll on Instagram saying, should Bron Breakker be the WWE champion in the next 12 months? And 54% of people voted, will he? And 54% said yes, he will be, right? Ooh. And the comments on that today came out, and everyone's like, I can't believe people voted for that, whatever, right? Should Bron Breakker be the WWE champion in the next 12 months? Probably not. But should he be in a high-profile feud for it in the next few months? Yes, I do think so. This guy is a star, and he's young. He's got so much potential. Let's chuck him in that main event scene right away. Let's not have him win. Let's not do a Roman Reigns where we put the title on him quite quickly and shove him down the throats of fans. But this guy, he's so talented, it's going to come through, and I don't think they're going to get sick of him as easily. Plus, you could always turn him heel because he's a great heel as well. I want to see him and Cody have a great big long feud, or even him and Damian Priest. I want Bron Breakker in the title picture ASAP, because this guy, he can be the face of your company for the next 10 years. Let's start exposing him to as many people as possible. But what are your thoughts, Clark?
I think Bron Breakker could be the world heavyweight champion tomorrow. The WWE title is a little different for me on that. Breakker Cody, I didn't have on my bingo card. That one doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me right now. I don't know how much story's there. Breakker Priest, give it to me now. Why not? Give that to me at Backlash. I'm all over that. I have no issue with that. Have Bron Breakker run through the whole.
We got Jey Uso. We got Jey Uso in there.
I know. I like Jey too, but I would have no issue with Bron Breakker running through the entire Judgment Day. That would crack me up. Cut Dom in half. Cut them all in half. Just absolutely like brute force that he is. I have no issue with him winning the title this year if it's the world heavyweight title. Given the Cody part of this scenario, it's a loaded question for me. Because Cody Braun, I have the opposite feeling. I don't think you put the title on him, to your point. You put him in the main event picture, he takes the loss to Cody, build him back up, figure that out. I also kind of at the end, I hate to say this as a fellow off the air guy with Shotty and Driz, dude, the tag team on NXT was awesome. And I was kind of hoping they would come out and dominate the tag division. I would love to actually see that as a start, because Corbin would be a great feud with Breakker after a short title reign. Resume builder. We've got a year for it. On his way to that world title picture, that WWE title picture, whichever it may be, spring of next year, maybe Mania season, maybe his first world title or WWE title matchup is at the Rumble. I would not dislike that in any way. Leading to WrestleMania 41, I don't necessarily see him as a WrestleMania 41 headliner next year, but in the main event scene, he's ready now. Are the fans ready for him? Not totally sure. And that's the reason that I say that. And that's the other thing about traveling on the road, different schedule, lifestyle change, all of that. Having a veteran like Corbin by your side out of the gates, and then working with the familiarity between the two, rivalry-wise, we know Corbin can actually tell stories. And if we get this one right, we make it a little less dog foody. I think we're in a good spot for them to have fun. Although, I mean, the dog-faced gremlin is, of course, related to Bron Breakker. So there is that, Rick Steiner. But I got to say, I don't want to see any more of that. But I would not mind the tag team not being broken up in any way. In fact, challenging for either tag belts, I think would be great out of the Wolf Dogs. I like the name. They actually operate as a tag team. It's not a thrown together one like it kind of appeared out of the gates. And I would have no issue with that. But the answer to the question is, for the WWE title specifically, I think no. This year, not this year.
My initial thought was I don't want to see that. But let's say now if they come in, they beat the Awesome Truth or whatever for the title in, or whatever, or 8 Time Down Under, they basically beat them straight away for the titles within a few weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Maybe following the draft. Then you have them hold it for a couple of months, then lose it. Then have Corbin turn on Breakker versus Corbin at SummerSlam. Breakker goes over. Then build him up for, a world championship match, like you said, at the Rumble. I'd be happy with that. I think that would be good. But you gotta have a long-term plan for this guy.
Totally.
You gotta say we want him here at this pay-per-view. We want him here. You gotta think about him like Roman Reigns. You gotta have that long-term vision for him and build him in the right direction. Because I feel like with Pete Dunne, you had such a young talent in your hands. You had so much potential. And they were like, oh, he's finding the mid-card for now. He's got time and all this. And now he's 30s. He's in his 30s. And he's still very, very young. He's still got time. But it's if you put this dude in the main event scene, not a top main eventer, but in that scene out of the gates, you could have made so much more money off this guy in 5 years' time.
No doubt.
You could, because more people will know about him. But Shad, you are also an NXT guy. You have seen the progression of Bron Breakker on NXT
one.
on Tuesdays.
Literally.
From literally day one. But should he win a title in the next 12 months?
Yes, he should definitely win the title. But here is where I have similarities between what y'all saying, but a little bit of a difference as well. I do not disagree with Clark's point in regards to the tag team, possibly bringing them up together. I think they're the best tag team in professional wrestling this year so far, without a doubt. I think they've done phenomenal work. And the chemistry is good. It can be a good initial, introduction to get him on the main roster. But I fear that the tag team booking on the main roster can also be detrimental. It can also not give him to his full potential. The route I'm going is just the classic, young talent route. And it's getting a mid card title and making that mid card title mean something. We just saw it with Gunther. Gunther is a person who came from NXT, not as known by the main roster, made that Intercontinental Championship mean something, and now he is at the top of the food chain in regards to being a potential main eventer, potential, feud with Cody this year or whoever, Priest, whatever it may be. We're going to see Gunther win one of the main 2 titles at some point. I'd put Braun in that same path. I'd have him either, absolutely demolish Logan Paul. If you want Bron Breakker to be the baby face, someone that a lot of people kind of don't like in Logan Paul as the United States champion, just run through him, man. Have a nice fast-paced match and then beat Logan Paul, become the United States champion, go that path, be dominant, and the fans will instantly love Braun for how he is just in the ring. Like, that dude is a phenom, right? The other one, if you want him to go heel, as my cat is coming here because he's probably not gonna like this one, Sami Zayn. Beat Sami Zayn for that title. Sami Zayn is the fan favorite. He is, in my opinion, potentially a transitional champion in a way. Like, they wanted him to get that moment at Mania, but I think Sami should be in the world heavyweight title picture. I think he's a guy that is that good. But Braun being the guy to just demolish Sami Zayn and becoming the IC champ and run as a heel. Either way it may go, but I think at some point, or even if Sami loses to Chad Gable, beat Chad Gable down, right? Like, there's ways that you can paint it, but I think he should get some sort of goal this year because he's a guy that is so dominant the title boosts him as a character more. And that to y'all's point, I agree with that. That's just simple, basic booking knowledge, right? You know, a guy, he doesn't have the character work to stay in a storyline where it keeps you captivated. He's one of those guys that if you give him the belt, that boosts him and that gets people have the eyes like, oh, this guy must mean something. He look like he can run through anybody like a train, and then he's got gold. So I think that's the way to go for it. He's got to get gold sometime this year.
Yeah. No, I absolutely do agree with you there. And I do think it'll be fun when it happens. Sami Zayn, I'd be so annoyed if he's the one to defeat Sami Zayn out the gates. Because why wouldn't you just have him defeat Gunther? Which is what, a lot of people, including myself, were saying the entire time. Gable or Bronson Reed. Bron Breakker. I keep saying Bronson Reed for some reason when talking about him. I need to stop doing that. Oh,
Bronson Breakker. I'm kidding.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's both BRO and then bro. Anyway, on that
The
note,
Killer Bees, if we want a new tag team.
There we are. That's the Killer Bros. There we are. That's the one. But on that note, guys, thank you so much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow to talk about SmackDown. We'll probably know by then who will be facing Cody Rhodes at Backlash. And it'll be a great time to talk about it. Please like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. 5 stars, a cheeky 5 stars on Spotify, or just support us wherever you listen. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you to Shad. Thank you to Clark. And we will see you guys tomorrow.